YouTube, it's me, it's the man who likes to RANT, dropping a fresh VID for you today. And today, I want to talk about the man who is perhaps my second favorite wrestler of all time. I want to talk about Sting. More specifically, I want to talk about how I feel WWE has grievously mistreated the legend known as Sting. But I think it's a deeper rooted hatred than any of us give it credit for. First of all, I want to talk about some similarities he has with another WWE legend that up until recently was mistreated by WWE. I speak, of course, of the Ultimate Warrior. Now, it's ironic that Ultimate Warrior and Sting, when they broke into the business together, were tag team partners. First, they were known as the Freedom Fighters, and then made the transition into the team known as the Blade Runners. Now, the difference is, at the very end of his career and life, more so his life, unfortunately, Ultimate Warrior was treated much better by WWE. They were making amends and in the process of a good relationship with each other. Sting, however, who has always been a good company man for whoever he works for, has suffered nothing but wrath and disappointment from WWE. And though I'm sure he won't acknowledge it himself because he's a good, benevolent man, that's what wrestling fans like me are for, to acknowledge that stuff for him. So, I guess in order to begin, I have to talk about how they had Sting debut. They had him debut at the Survivor Series when it was Team Authority versus Team Cena, and he allowed Team Cena to pick up the victory, supposedly abolishing the Authority at least for a month, till WWE decided we don't have any other ideas, we need to bring them back. It wasn't bad enough that Sting didn't get, I won't say a flashy entrance, because Sting doesn't need to be flashy, but I at least feel he deserved a more appropriately aesthetic entrance to his character other than a slow walk to the ring with some of the most god-awful theme music I have ever seen, which, by the way, is the first point of contention. Vince McMahon owns everything in regards to WCW. That means, if necessary, he has access to all WCW theme music, and at one point has used Sting's Crow entrance in an effort to market him as the downloadable character in the 2K15 video game. So why would you need to give him a new theme, which I believe is called In the Shadows, which sounds like complete crap, except for the Raven Crow, which I do think is a nice touch. You know, Raven Crow, or it could be an actual crow. It didn't sound like a crow, but you get what I'm saying. That's the one thing that was true about Sting, is Crow Sting had that kind of call to him. Now, they went from that uninspiring debut to giving us a match back in 98, 99, 2000 that I'm pretty sure all of us wanted to see. Triple H and Sting at WrestleMania 31. It turned out that this was a match we thought we wanted to see until we actually got to see it. I thought Sting's entrance was good, although the Japanese drummers kind of threw me off a little bit, but Sting's a big star over in Japan, so they gave him that so he would have something. At the very least, while that entrance was confusing, it was a lot better than Taker bringing the crowned heads of decapitated Terminators to the ring and being introduced by Arnold Schwarzenegger. That made no sense. But you know what else made no sense? The fact that Triple H went over. What do I mean? It has been a long-standing tradition that any wrestler who's a big name, who makes his debut with the company, usually wins his first match. If you need an example of this, You need only go back to WrestleMania 29 to watch Fandango wrestle against Chris Jericho. That was quite possibly one of the worst WrestleMania matches I have ever seen. And quite frankly, you should never, ever have a new talent have his very first match for the company on the biggest stage in the world. A mistake I'm sure Vince won't be repeating anytime soon. But it wasn't bad enough that Triple H politicked his way to victory in that match. It is how they went about it. Now, these two had went along and had, I'm calling a decent match for their age. Perhaps not my favorite, but it wasn't also as bad as I was expecting. And then the shenanigans happened because DX comes out to help Triple H. Okay, I get it. You're kind of giving your boys a rub, Triple H, and you're giving them a WrestleMania payday. I guess I can buy it. But, at some point you figure someone's going to come out to help Sting and even up the sides. And a group does come out to help Sting. The NWO comes out to help Sting. I'm going to say that again. The NWO comes out to help Sting. Anybody tell me why this is a problem? WWE, you competed against WCW in the Monday Night Wars. That means you have to have seen Nitro at points to understand what they were doing. And if you were paying attention at all in 96, 97, 98, 99, you would know that Crow Sting and the NWO were not friends. They were on the opposite side of one another. Sting was actively battling to try to get the NWO out of the company. And yet they're friends helping him at Mania now? I don't get it. I don't understand. That's ludicrous booking. Also, may I add, aside from the fact that you're pandering to your son-in-law by giving him a win, you made it WCW versus WWE all over again. Vince, look at me. You won the Monday Night Wars in 2001. There was no need to put Triple H over Sting in this matchup. You did it to satisfy your own egotistical urges and satiate your immeasurable pride. But the grievousness of this atrocity does not end. In fact, it continues on the Raw after WrestleMania 31, where Sting graciously says thank you to the WWE fans for their response to the matchup, and says that that being in a WWE ring felt exceedingly natural. Excuse me, Sting. I'm going to take an unpopular road for just a second. I didn't know that essentially getting bent over a tree stump and humped to death by Triple H and the company you're working for could feel natural. Because what I saw in that match was the raping of the Sting character for all available dignity that was left. And I'm truly sorry that you had to go through that. But it didn't end there. After that match, you set up a feud between him and Seth Rollins, culminating at Night of Champions. Now, let me state this. If Sting had won this match, not saying he had to win for the title. I understand Rollins is the young superstar and Sting is the old superstar. So Sting didn't have to win the title because you want to push your young guy who you believe is the future of the business. But didn't this legend deserve at least one victory in the WWE ring? You couldn't give him that by countout or disqualification. No. And what ends up happening is Sting ends up hurting himself because an accident happened when Rollins gave him the corner powerbomb maneuver. And so they had to rush the finish, and Rollins rolled up Sting for the victory. Who do we have to thank for this? The head booker himself, Vince McMahon. Vince, I can't stand the fact that you don't like Sting. And don't sit here and tell me you do. I know better. And I know why you dislike Sting. But I don't get it. Because all Sting ever really did was work for a company in order to provide for his family. And you're angry because at the point where Sting's character was at his zenith, that company was handing you your asses continually, week after week, in regards to the ratings of the Monday Night Wars. And then you're continually angry when you finally prevailed over that company in 2001, staged an invasion angle which fell mercilessly on its ass, and Sting wasn't there to eat his crow along with the rest of the WCW superstars. In fact, he didn't come work for you. He worked for a lesser competitor, TNA, and brought them to the beginnings of some level of prominence until WWE screwed it up thanks to their own merits. So you said now that you've got Sting in your company, after all these years, you finally convinced him to come over. And so you say, now I'm going to do to him what I wanted to do in 2001. I hope you feel proud of yourself, Vince. I hope you feel proud at destroying a legend made by the fans who you claim to respect to no end, and yet you have emasculated Sting of all his dignity in no other reason than to inflate your already overinflated ego. How can you claim to care about the legends that have forged the way for the young people you're trying to build up in this business when you treat them so shabbily in front of the young guys? I'm sure there were young NXT talent that was watching. They might have applauded nicely for the effort that was put into the match, but somewhere in the back of their head there should be thinking, I can't believe he did this to a man he claims to have so much respect for. But it doesn't surprise us, does it? Because this is what Vince McMahon does to people who give him problems. It's unfair, it's not right, and I don't want to see it again. So I want to challenge my subscriber base, limited though it is. If you have any forms of social media, I want you to pin, post, tweet, snap, chat, tout, whatever you want to do, to talk about how you feel Sting has ultimately been disrespected by WWE. And then, down in the comments section below, I want to hear from my fan base about some of your favorite memories of Sting. I want to hear about how you enjoyed watching this man. Or I want to hear about how you maybe were disenchanted with blonde surfer dude Sting. I'm not here to criticize, I'm not here to condemn, but I want the fan base of Sting to make their voices heard in the comments of this video and in social media, so that we can begin to show WWE that we will not tolerate this level of disrespect to superstars who forged memories of our childhood that we will have from now to the days that we draw our last breath. Ranter off the soapbox. If you like this video, click that little thumbs up icon down below. And if you don't want to miss a video, feel free to rate, comment, subscribe. I'm going to get off the soapbox. Catch you guys later. Bye-bye.